rate, you're walking back, and perhaps you want to talk about your abilities and skills a bit, since, if nothing else, I would like to know who's good at perception, and you might want to figure out who's good at the talky stuff and arcana and all that other stuff amongst yourselves.
My talkie and arcana is not bad, but my perception's lousy.
I am legitly good at lying, trust me. And pretty good with magic stuff, too.
I respect Arcana and me bluff, but I'm still level 5, so I'm probably not going to be the party favourite where those merits are concerned.
Also, if we have anything to do in the cities and the knowledge of the dark arts might help us. Basically, street fights.
But yeah, if you want to use me as a buttercup to intimidate someone, then I'm your guy.
Yeah, that tends to be the way I talk to people too.
Oh, you have a halfling go up to some innocent guy and say, "You could help me. You could tell me what I want to know, or you can deal with Nazar." Is that your plan?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's diplomacy, but with a different name.
Sure. I might even call it bluff if it comes down to that. Yeah, sorry, Tom. I had no clue who the passive 21 belonged to.
Yep.
And since it's 21, it's relevant. If you'd said your passive was 5, it would have been like, fuck it, I don't care who said that. Yeah, he's the best. He can see things.
My buggy eyes.
Is that what did him? You have 360 vision?
Yep.
Good for you. Okay. Say something.
What?
Oh, I was in another screen, and all of a sudden, Roll20 started beeping, so I quickly had to check back who was talking and who was saying something. Oh, that's going to be annoying. Okay. As you walk back to the guild, which you're well aware will take a couple days at least, you might be chatting amongst yourselves, or at least trying to impress yourself with your skills, or no skills, as the case may be. A road-weary traveler will approach you, more or less, but stop at about 50 meters or yards, whatever you want to hear, from you, and will wait as you approach. I would like to hear from you who would like to how you would like to handle that.
What does he appear to be? Like race-wise?
This is a human woman, if that's what you're asking.
Okay.
I could volunteer to make an introduction, but I think it was another character in the party who had a better bluff check would probably be more suited.
Yes, so that would be Valuden.
Yeah.
Hello, hello, madame. What brings you to these parts of the woods?
It's an open road that you're on, but well, actually, she'll say, I'm looking for something, and you might just be what I'm looking for.
And
she's eyeing all of you.
And what is it exactly you are looking for?
I wink.
a diverse group like yourselves, would you be guild members?
Yes, we would be.
Interesting. Could you perhaps be convinced to do a task?
That depends on what is the task.
And the
There
payment.
is... There is a danger that is threatening our town that we have been unable to deal with ourselves. And some experienced adventurers could certainly help.
What is this danger, where it is located, and how much are you willing to pay for this, our service? This is business for us, so every detail must be accounted for.
I'll kiss me muscles and say, point me at him.
A man
First of
after
all,
my own heart. Sorry.
first of all, I mean, nobody asked, but I'll tell you anyway. This is a woman in her 40s. She's wearing a camouflaged cloak, green clothes. She's, you can all easily notice at least one sword on her belt. And Takaka is pretty sure there's at least a handful of daggers at various places on her body. And yet she's apparently not sure how to handle a certain threat. So you may want to give some thought to that. Then she will proceed to tell you that unfortunately her town does not have a lot of money. But there is a nearby ruin that the town has forbade anybody to go into for the last few hundred years. That certainly could be looted to your heart's content.
Why have they forbidden people to enter?
It said that it is haunted.
So that in itself would also be a guild mission.
If you do not find sufficient payment in there, I am sure that our town could find a way to work off our debt.
Excellent. That's what I like to hear.
Now, about this danger you spoke about.
There is a demon that is threatening our town. He has killed some cattle. Some outlying fortifications have been attacked and perhaps destroyed a little. And last night found some bear-like creature laying in front of the main gate.
Okay, has anyone actually seen this demon? And if so, any distinctive details on how he looked? Any number of horns, wings, anything like that could be helpful for us.
Nobody has seen him for a few years, but we suspect that we know who it might be. A former woodsman from the town has withdrawn himself more and more over the years, and he's always told us that he wanted to be left alone. But recently, his actions. I mean, it's the only living thing out there. We live in that town. We live in those woods. We know what is out there. It must be some form of demon. Maybe he's possessed. Maybe he's willingly doing this, but he's certainly threatening the town, and that needs to stop.
So your best guess is a hunter.
And hungry for some vengeance on them demon scam. Not sure it's come up, but I speak Abyssal. I possessed it.
You're not the only one who speaks Abyssal.
Cool, I'll come in handy.
Is this something you're saying out loud?
Yeah, I was having my character go
Because
on
that
about,
will,
I'd love me some vengeance, got possessed and shit, it was bad, and such.
that will make her a little paler, and she takes a step back. Her hand almost moves to her dagger, and then she gets herself in check, notices that you're not.
Raise my hand. It's fine, it's a long time ago. It was exercised or dealt with by the books. Official, it's over and done with. Do my best to calm her down. And put her at ease.
All right, well,
Shall I make a bluff check or something, actually?
I would prefer diplomacy. Are you lying?
Yep. Sure. No, it's not a lie, it's all true. So I'll go with diplomacy. There we go. 11 plus 11.
So 22. That's pretty sufficient.
Cool.
She wasn't all that threatened by you to begin with, so
Great.
She's fine.
Flex me bicep and kiss me muscles for nothing.
This older woman seems completely unimpressed with such showmanship of physical attributes.
I'm a bard. What else am I going to do but showmanship?
And she's not impressed by you at all. However, she looks up to Nahazar quite as somebody who could do some job.
I'll win her over, yeah. I'm not one to admit defeat so easily. Especially not when I'm a milk threat.
I would say that both out of character and in character, Nahazar is honestly surprised that woman is not swooning over Bart. His opinion is that, yeah, Bart and other guys, they're like, bam, and they have women swooning over them.
Well, she's an older woman, and she's more concerned about her village at this point.
Anyway,
she doesn't
Big
care about
muscles.
playboys. She cares about the safety of her town.
Madam, I believe we will take this.
The idiotic boys of our guild, could you tell us who do you suspect might be this demon?
Yes, certainly. It's a crazy hermit by the name of Tyrus. He's lived deeper in the woods from our town for as long as anybody can remember. He's been leaving some fairly aggressive signs, as I told you, over the last 2 weeks or so. And we don't think... none of our townspeople have been hurt yet, but it would seem that is only a matter of time. And we know that we are incapable of dealing with him ourselves.
What did you say this bear thing that was found outside the gates? What came of that?
It was slaughtered. It was killed.
Did it resist?
No. I mean, we found it killed.
Oh.
Its corpse was laid out in front of our main gate. It was obviously no normal bear, so we burnt the body.
No normal bear. How? How was it disfigured?
Well, first of all, it was wearing a necklace with a human skull around his neck. I mean, it had fastened a skull around his neck with the leather strap. It had a beak, and it had claws much longer and sharper than any bear we've ever seen. We live in those woods. That was no normal creature.
Are owlbears uncommon in this area?
I don't know that word, sir.
It sounds like what you described.
That is no normal creature, is all I can tell you.
Was the beak that of an owl or more of an eagle?
More that of an owl. But not in size. I mean, an owl you can hold that in 2 hands. This creature's head was larger than your average owl.
It is an owl bear.
Well,
Sounds like it.
You certainly seemed the right people for this job. All we know is creatures that live in our woods, and that was not something that belonged there. Please, sirs, follow me to my town.
Sure.
Alright.
Let's go.
We have
She
money
will,
to earn and monsters to kill.
You will walk a few miles down a road, and then all of a sudden Okay.
Might not bother though. It's a beast. I shall leave it for the passage. If anyone's wondering, yes, I go out of my way to learn offensive stereotypes long before anything that sounds genuine. It's way funner that way.
Okay. She will lead you a few miles down the same road that you were already going down on. But then she takes a steep right, cuts straight into a large field, and walks towards the Dunwood Forest. If any of you are nature trained, 3, 2.
Only trained in history.
No, not here. No wisdom.
I have a plus to
perspective.
nature, but I'm not trained in it.
Oh, you're all fucked then. So she walks into these woods, and they're pretty dark woods, pretty dense as well. But
My character has night vision. I think it's called dark vision or something. Will that be useful? That
that's
sounds
not
good.
that's not the sort of dark I meant.
Yep.
As she walks into these woods, they're pretty dense, as I said. But she seems to find a path where none was before, or at least you couldn't find it, unless perhaps Takaka. And she weaves herself through the trees towards the town of Burial's Rest. After...
Nope, I wouldn't have found it.
I'm sorry, what?
Said nope, I wouldn't have found it.
No. It's a pine forest, so pine is all you can smell right now. None of you notice anything particularly out of place, particularly as, none of you are nature trained. But perhaps the trees are just a little more twisted and darker than they really should be. And most of you will feel some sense of uneasiness here.
Arcana check to sense any magical effects on those trees.
Okay, go for it. It's a couple hours walk, so go nuts. There is definitely something arcane about the gloominess around here.
Okay. Valu will be on guard and apply a caustic whetstone to her staff of.
How long are those valid for? I remember you using them, but I didn't read up on it. You know what I mean?
5 minutes of the encounter.
Okay. Thanks. That's indeed the question I was asking.
Is there a sense magic something or other I could use? I'm not sure if that'd be any rituals or
Arcane.
powers. If arcane checked, yeah.
Yeah.
So it'd just be a skill check with arcane?
Velu already did that. I'm assuming
Right, yeah.
that you guys work together and he would share his sense of uneasiness with you. And
Yep.
also you see him applying some acidic whetstone to his staff, so He's ready for action.
That's probably more than I could do. I've only got a +7.
Since we're going over stats and stuff, everybody without a shield bonus, go ahead and take a +1.
Somebody's devout.
Thanks.
Kind of.
Devout to something. Perhaps money.
So is that +1 to reflex?
That's actually a good devotion.
AC.
Yeah.
But only if you didn't have a shield bonus already.
Yeah, nah, I use wrist razors because it looks cool.
Yeah, I'm not using shield, so I will gladly accept that bonus.
After a walk of a couple hours through these forests, you come to a large clearing, at the center of which sits a fort protected by a high, sturdy wooden palisade. Surrounding it are neatly cultivated fields, handful of sturdily built outlying constructions, and around some parts of it there's also a briar hedge that will only allow access into the forest beyond through a couple of fenced off gaps. All in all, you're getting the impression that this is quite a fortress these people have here.
A briar hedge, wouldn't that fall to a sword with enough effort? Not sure if it's magical or something.
Briar hedge is the nature's equivalent of a God, what's the English word here? Of
Brick wall? Cinder block?
yeah, of a fence with razor wire on it. You can get through
Yep.
it. You just, it slows you down a bit.
Like temporary fencing at a construction site, or more like a prison?
More like a
Well, it's
prison.
a briar, so it's like barbed branches and thorny.
It's basically thorny bushes.
Oh, that's hardcore. Maybe like that thorn bush in Africa. It's really hectic and the worst thing you can walk into when you go out of your tent for a piss.
I would never suggest going out of your tent for a piss in the middle of the night. But that's just not me.
Well, if nature calls, sometimes it's unavoidable.
I'm
Don't have a bottle every time.
I'm a city boy, and I'm happily staying in the city.
Fair enough. It's the right call, I reckon.
All the men and women that you see are clad in hide armor. They're wielding some are wielding long spears while they're standing sentry by the gate. You see somebody with a crossbow on a battlement, and all the people you see, most of them are either human or half elves. Are armed.
If I mutter under me breath, hide armor's for pussies, will I hear it?
Nope.
I smack him over the back of the head.
Even
They might not hear you, but Taka, I'm pretty sure, will hear you.
But my character
wear iron
punches
armor.
a bit
I don't
and
wear
puts
armor,
on
period.
some reserved body language, but otherwise just sort of laughs it off.
the men, the women, and the older
Equally,
kids are
rather than
all carrying
A sign of
weapons.
disrespect.
Pretty militaristic village you got here.
hmm
I said that in
However-
character out loud.
I bow my head and say, anything I can do.
Well, it's a town of about 50, 60 people. You can't be sure since you don't know if
Not sure
everybody's
if we
here.
walked in now. I thought we were talking to the townspeople or the leaders.
Yeah, we walked inside.
Ah, cool. Yep.
And the woman that pretty much hires you off the street said, turns to the crowd that, not a lot of new things happen here. So you all draw quite a bit of attention. That's aside the fact that you carry the likes of Nia and Takaka with you, so you would draw attention anyway.
I would imagine tricranes would be very well known in this area.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They're well known. Never seen one
I
before.
think that I probably would have wanted to, change my skin color to normal and just look myself, but human. But I'm not sure if I should have specified that before wandering into the town.
You could have horns for all they care, but sure.
Just not demonic horns.
Exactly.
Of course.
The older woman that hired you off the street will address the crowd and tell them that that you are here to deal with Tyrus. Give them any help or information that you can, and let's see if we can save our town here. And then she will pretty much throw the mic to you guys.
I look at Valu, expecting her to do the talking.
Alright. First of all, we need to ask them if they seen any other irregular.
Your mic cut out.
I know. First of all, we need to ask them if there are other irregularities other than random beasts of the forest being slaughtered and delivered towards the gate.
Well, if you're referring to what happened a week ago, when 4 pigeons were all thrown into the town without a head, those were normal creatures. The bear-like creature of last night was definitely not a normal woodland creature. We would have known if that was the case.
What was done with the corpse of the owlbear?
It was burned.
Oh, that's right.
We burned it, but if any of you said you knew the name of such a creature, we chopped off its claws and its beak, and you can see it.
Show it to us.
She will. All of you, or the person interested, you will be asked to come into one of those little shacks.
I'm not familiar with these creatures, but I wouldn't say no to a chance to observe them before we encounter them in the field.
Does the side of the hut say free candy on it?
I mean, the owl bear. There are a few owl bears in the guild. If you haven't noticed.
Ah, true. Whoops. I'm not sure if I would have run into them, but surely I'd have bumped into them around the halls and rooms, eating areas and such.
Usually is used as mounts for a few people in the guild.
Okay.
I didn't quite catch that, but yeah, I probably would have bumped into one.
So somebody is one of the townspeople takes one or a few of you into a shack to show you the claws and beak of the demon that they cut off before they burnt the body. Who wants to inspect those?
Would that be
I'll
a
inspect
nature?
them.
Or Arcana?
Who wants to do nature while I'll do arcana?
I can do nature.
Another 22.
Both are sufficient.
Actually,
This was
mine should be higher than that. Hold on.
okay.
I
Well,
should
it's
get
already
a plus. Yeah, that's fine.
it's already sufficient. So
Yeah.
the townsman who will show you the remains will tell you about this bizarre creature, which, by the way, was definitely an owlbear. Its neck had been snapped. Not. It had a lot of axe wounds, but that neck snapping looked like it was from an actual wrestling. So something wrestled that owlbear. And that's really...
How big are these claws like?
They're, let's say, 8 inches wide. So 20 centimeters for all the non-Americans.
Yeah, this was not a young owlbear. This was an elder one.
Oh yeah, this was definitely a fucking adult owlbear. Like,
So
8 feet tall.
6 feet wide.
A good specimen, I'd say.
Uh-huh.
So whatever took this down had to be pretty... Did anyone inspect the corpse before they burned it?
Yeah, that's why they know that it was that even though the creature was bleeding from a lot of axe wounds, that its neck had been snapped.
Oh, okay. That's what I was going to ask. What seemed to be the cause of death?
And that's also the reason that they knew they didn't want to anybody who could do that to a creature that big, they knew they needed help.
Especially single-handedly.
Before that,
they
were just annoyed by, doves being thrown into town while headless, and, they will also tell you about some animal traps that were disturbed.
You all believe this is the work of a disgruntled hunter who lives alone in the woods?
Tyrus, yeah.
And he just wants to be left alone. Has anyone intruded upon him lately?
We don't know exactly where he lives. Sometimes we see human footprints or a creature at a faraway location in the woods, but every time we've ever tried to make it there was nobody there. We haven't had direct contact with him in decades.
So what leads you to believe that this is his handiwork? Just the fact that...
There is nobody else out there. You think a wolf did that?
Well, no, not a wolf, but it could be any number of things.
It has to be
Well, we know
Tyrus.
he's fallen to the same fate.
Want me to make a list of the things who could do that? I am a scholar, after all.
We know these woods. We know it was Tyrus, and he needs to be dealt with.
Oh, don't worry, we will get to the bottom of this.
By the way, as a DM, I want to say that you're on a good path of thinking. I'm just portraying the stubborn villagers here. Okay. He has no reason. We haven't changed anything. He has no reason to be upset with us, but we want to live our lives in this town, and we're not going to be changed away.
I feel you. I don't see a reason to leap to conclusions about this Tyrus fellow, but why not take a walk out in his direction and see what we find on the way?
Yes, that's actually what I was going.
Also, if you know these woods, how have you never seen an owlbear before? If this is a creature that was in your woods, and you've never seen them, especially one of this size,
I'm
surely
guessing you
you've
never
crossed
went.
territory.
I'm guessing he never went deeper than a few miles into the forest.
This owlbear's territory would have been rather large.
But they don't usually tend to live outside of the parts.
They're part of the woods, I assume.
Really, I'm thinking that other than them, there is one more person who might know these woods better.
Tyrus himself?
Exactly.
Okay. Do you have any more questions for the people in the town before you start?
No, not
around?
for them. Not for them.
Just a basic
I'd
guess
like to
as to
know
where the house
maybe-
is.
Yeah, talk to see if they can tell us someone who maybe has had, maybe not contact, maybe last seen who they think was Tyrus.
Perhaps if nothing else, I might restock on trail rations and water skins if possible.
Yeah, they can give you some homemade versions of both. They're pretty self-sufficient here, meaning most of their stuff is homemade. I'm not sure who was asking about the last person who had seen Tyrus.
Talk was.
Cool.
Okay.
Put my hands together and bow my head in gratitude. Sincerely, by the way.
There is an old woman who will step forward. Her name is Grandma Erin. She is clearly at least in her 80s. Frail. She's not carrying a weapon, one of the few adults who isn't. Probably because, her hands be shaking. And she will tell you about a story. She will tell you a story about something that happened about 60, 70 years ago when she was still a young gal. She was gathering berries out in the woods. And she knew Tyrus, even though he was about a decade older than her. He'd always been around, and, he was a handsome man in his time. And I saw him out in those woods wandering around. But I forgot about my berries, and then I followed him. I had a little bit of sneak to me. When I was young. You know what I'm talking about, right, Jerry? And he just all of a sudden he was stalking.
Nodding my head as I say it, to convey understanding and such.
He was stalking some deer, but we heard a growl out of the woods, and he just jumped up and ran off, forgot all about that deer, and he ran straight into those ruins. And I don't know what happened after that. I waited until close to sunset, but he never came out.
Of the ruins that they were offering us as bounty?
I don't know about no offer of bounty, but I heard some growls come out of it back then, but that was 60 years ago.
I think we might want to investigate these ruins
to my
first.
mind, but there's probably
let's go to these ruins first, just in case.
Okay. I want to tell you that if you ask around, they can give you pretty clear directions as to the ruins. But unfortunately, the people in this town only can give you general directions about where they suspect that Tyrus might live, as they have never even been close to any. They don't know. They don't know where he lives exactly.
So let's go to the ruins first, see what's all the commotion about them.
Okay. Is anybody interested in, some history or figuring out what these ruins were made of?
First of all, we need to see them.
Okay. I can certainly, you can certainly walk over there. Are you doing so at night, or are you waiting till morning?
I think morning would be best. Maybe something else will deposit itself nearby, kind of like the owlbear did last night, and we can get more of an investigation about what's leaving these things, and maybe catch it in the
That's
act.
a good idea. We can be on the lookout during the night. Maybe we'll catch something.
I don't need to sleep, so I can kind of keep guard and look out for that kind of stuff.
Okay, I don't know how the other players already have an action point.
Do we not start with one?
Yeah, but I hadn't given action points out because there was no combat, so no reason to bother with any of that. But some
I probably still had mine from the last game.
But
What a
I've done the same
waste.
thing, I guess.
Well,
When
I
you have-
died in the first round last game, so I didn't get to use mine.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah, I died.
Before we get into combat, by the way, which we're not about to, don't be afraid. But can you all place yourself in the box while we have some time? That's easier for me later on to
Okay.
just. Somebody said that they didn't need sleep.
It's a three.
Taka.
Three kings do not
I have
Of
sleep.
course, it was Takaka.
I have torpor. I can do menial minor tasks while I sleep, basically, and keep
Well,
watching.
Do you take a penalty to perception while you're sleeping? As the more, while you're in torpor.
I don't believe so. Let me check. I don't remember it saying anything about that.
For role playing, as everyone's drifting off to sleep, I softly sing my own lullaby rendition of the Pokemon theme song.
Yeah, I also have like the trance thing as well.
Oh, the drows are like to trance, and there's an Eladrin here as well, so half the party's not sleeping.
Yep.
It's
Okay.
only the Tiefling and the Dragonborn and the Changeling that are going to sleep.
And I'm pretty sure I just go normally, I'm not sure, but I just will say, well, I'm not exactly good at spotting things, but I think that if alarm will be raised, I can go and give a chase.
I can
I
tell.
didn't realize that. Don't changelings sleep.
I'm sorry. Who said what?
That was me. I hadn't realized. Don't changelings sleep? I thought they were more or less people, shapeshifters. Would it be the
Changelings-
possession?
Changelings do sleep, as far as I know, but Eladrin, Drow, and Tricrine don't.
Triggering.
Oh, yep.
But anyway, I just rolled for it, and nothing happens during the night. Sorry to disappoint you.
Alright, so the morning
To relate to me is the squishiest character, probably.
The townspeople will draw a map out to the ruins in the sand. I don't know how good any of you are with memory, but I hope you're pretty decent at it.
Personally, yeah, but my character's got a 10 for wisdom and intelligence, so probably not that great. Though study of Arcana, that might come into play there.
I don't
have-
know. Is 23 enough for a history?
That is, yeah, sure.
Well, actually, I've got ink and parchment in me gear. I could copy the directions onto that, as I am literate.
I would hope that most of us are literate, but yeah, sure. You can.
I didn't actually realize that was assumed, but good point. The Guildhall has lots of books and such. So yeah. I hadn't seen
That's
that
not in older versions. Barbarians often would be illiterate or whatever, but that's not a thing in. But
Okay.
you know, if you want to role play it, go for it.
Nah, not personally. But that's
So-
pretty progressive for a setting such as this.
Yeah, I mean, you can have some fun with it in Dark Sun, for example, where nobody's literate, or
Yeah, true.
everybody's litter, and nobody's literate.
As far as gameplay goes, probably a lot more convenient this way than having everyone look at words like the arcane wizardry.
As you,
Game of Thrones, Gilly's like, are you a wizard?
as you set on your way in the early morning, I'm assuming, do any of you have particularly